What are we talking about?
Morning. I thought we were talking about
Ability.
talent, and gift.
Yeah. Morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to another episode of Chill Out Sunday. Gary.
Joyee.
Haziq.
Powerpuff Girl introduction.
But before we talk about our topic, right? I do have a question from our audience. Well, just one.
Oh, we have audience. Wow.
Actually, not bad lah. Our view is actually not bad lah.
Okay.
About 70, 80.
Oh wow.
I mean, on Spotify.
Good number.
How many of that was you?
No. Honestly.
To be honest, I listened 3 times.
To be honest, I didn't listen to it at all on Spotify.
The video?
No. I only watched the trailer.
But then I watched the YouTube. It's actually quite fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it is fun.
It is
was
like
fun.
very casual. Yeah.
How many times do you listen to?
No, I listened to the Spotify once.
Full.
Yeah, full.
Nice.
It was quite interesting.
What do you think? It's quite comfortable, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it took a while for us to like warm up and be fluent. But yeah, the first half was a bit hard to listen to.
I didn't listen, but I was talking about this podcast with a few friends, and then I was talking to them about the content that we discussed, and then they are Malaysian, so they can relate to it. And they say that the honesty of our conversation is really nice, and then they wanted to listen.
Wait, was that the podcast you did with Eugene? Way earlier. It's like last 2.
No, I was talking about our last podcast.
Sorry. Because you were talking to Eugene in one of the episodes he did.
Yes.
And then you guys were talking about content as well.
We were talking about
Concrete matter.
quite a bit of stuff, content, green architecture. I remember, but that was a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a question, and sorry, I don't remember if it's a he or she.
Okay, it's a they.
They ask about the difference of studying in UK and Malaysia. Well, this topic, the reason why I don't want to talk much about it, because almost every episode, perhaps the first 20 or 30 episodes in XYZ podcast, I ask most of the people who study in UK, they already sort of like answer it, and but this time the topic talking about ability, I think sort of like very relatable to how our personality change, when we position in different in different country. So perhaps I don't think we might not be able to directly answer to the different experience studying in different countries. But I think today's topic about ability or gift, I mean, it's much more like at the most natural state of us when we were born and our childhood, and then how does it relate to our reaction in different country or cultural shock kind of thing. It might change, because I think for me definitely the ability changed quite much.
Wait, I think
First question.
No, it's like we haven't introduced the topic yet.
Yes.
Right?
Okay, sorry. Yes.
I mean, okay, so this was kind of something that I've been thinking about recently and trying to just reflect on. I guess it's a way of tracking progress and understanding where I want to go. And it was a question that someone asked me, and it was to think about what we do in 3 different ways. What are your abilities, what are your talents, and what are your gifts? And I think if you look at it that way, I guess the ideal scenario is to be able to align all these 3 things. To use your ability and your talent, and gift is your special power, right? And if you can find a career or a hobby or anything that can make use of all 3 of these things, then you win, basically. So yeah, I think that was the inspiration behind the topic for today.
Do you mind we dive into sort of like the definitions of ability, talent, or gift?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, what's your definition of it?
It seems to me, so obviously gift is something that you acquire naturally when you're born. Something that you're better at it without having to work hard for it. Something you kind of have a knack for it. Then ability is something that you learn afterwards. It's like a skill that you pick up, like you can hone it from trainings and whatnot. And what's the other one?
Talent.
Talent.
Actually,
What's the difference between talents and gift?
So the way I think about it is that it's kind of in tiers, right? Ability is something you learn. Talent is something you learn, but then you're good at it better than others who are learning it as well, right? So let's say me and you, we learn Photoshop, but I might have a talent for it more than you, but we're learning it at this like same thing. But I pick it up better. I understand it. It makes sense to me
But
much
both of
easier.
us have the ability.
We
to
have the ability
Photoshop.
to learn, yeah, and
okay.
to Photoshop.
Nice. Good.
Gift is like what you said. I feel like it just comes naturally. Usually, it's a bit more kind of
So,
like soft skills.
in
Usually,
the example of Photoshop would be perhaps you have the gift of like composite a picture
Exactly,
as
yeah.
compared to I just do it for the sake of like
yeah.
doing it.
I think the gift thing is more abstract. It's more like so. Let's
Yeah.
say if in the context of Photoshop, it's like the gift to play with the composition. To to make it feel just right. You know, you look at an image
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it just feels right.
You got the
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
the
gift because not
intuition.
everyone can do that,
Ah,
right?
True.
That's interesting.
But I want to maybe I'll ask the question later. Yeah, go on.
So if that's the case, I can redefine again where ability is a hardware, where in architecture school tend to be, and almost everyone needs to have the ability to use AutoCAD, for example. That's ability, right? But doesn't mean that everyone can use AutoCAD fast or fluently or faster. So that's talent. So gift is because you have the personality to able to catch, to drive or to navigate the philosophy behind the AutoCAD, and also how do you understand construction details.
Yeah,
So-
I think the gift part, again, in that kind of drawing scenario is just making it feel right. Like, if someone is gifted in it, the line weight is just nice, that if their shadow is perfect, like, and the difference is that they don't have to think about it much.
But
It
don't you
comes
think
naturally.
gift can be trained as well to become an ability? Because like,
You
for
mean
example,
from an ability to become a gift?
or like a gift, yeah.
You
Like,
can,
because we're talking about such intuition thing as if they are something that you're born with, but
Yeah.
composition, image composition, or like a nice drawing, all these can be trained.
of course.
So in a way, there's no such thing as gift.
No, I don't agree. I disagree.
But I do think that gift is a good starting point for you to run
But why
faster.
do you disagree?
I disagree because I've seen it. I've seen people who like have ability and talent, but they're not necessarily gifted, and that's maybe over time. You can develop a gift over like 20 years, let's say, of just hard work every day. I think at some point, of course, you'll get it, but it's not something that in our lifetime, like at our age, I don't think we can develop it yet. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Does that make sense?
okay. What about we talk about our own ability, talent, and gift? Then you sort of know. I think I will sort of know. I sort of get what Haziq was saying, because you can, of course, you can draw for the next 30 or 40 years, and then you can draw like a Da Vinci, but Da Vinci is like gifted. Like at the age of 14, 15 already can draw something.
Yeah,
So
that's the difference.
so I
You
mean,
can, but it takes
longer time.
longer time.
So I'm not saying like you can't draw. So when I still remember back then when tutors saying, some student, you won't be architect, you can't draw, things like this. It's quite true in a way, because it's a very instinctive thing where you can be not a gifted good draftsman, but doesn't mean that you can't be draftsman.
I guess it's also like how naturally it comes, right? So let's say if we think about it from a more less technical point of view and more sensitive human point of view, let's say like your ability to be a leader, or your ability to socialize, your ability to be the life of the party, that is a gift for some people, because it's so easy, it's natural to them, they don't think about it. Other people, they might want that gift, but they have to work at it, right? They have to practice it, and it's hard work. Does that help?
Yeah, I understand. It's more like I'm thinking, gift instead of like something that you're born with.
Yeah.
It's more like something and this is just my personal interpretation, it's more like something that is a combination of a lot of factors. So my opinion, gift, it only comes by when you combine ability and then with the right talent and with the right time setting factors and everything. So for example, you're talking about Da Vinci. So maybe Da Vinci born with that talent to draw, but also because of his environment, his background, his family allowed him to do so. He doesn't have to work as a farmer, he doesn't have to work as a other things else. And then the ability, someone who is there to craft him and whatnot, and then therefore make him become a child prodigy. So the same thing for some great mathematicians like Terence Steele, I can't remember what's the name. So he's very smart. But it's because both his parents are mathematicians from Cambridge, from like a very prestigious university. He has a talent, but how he honed his ability is through his parents, therefore he's gifted. So in a way, I feel like I related more strongly with ability and talent.
I mean, to add on to the idea of gift, then it reminds me of the Wired by Culture, that book. And then he was saying that you can draw doesn't mean that you have to be an architect. So the statement of you can draw is actually a gift, but you doesn't. So the next sentence is doesn't mean that you have to be an architect or artist. Is the ability. It's much more like a choice. You can be gifted with a special talent. For example, you can run faster, but doesn't mean that you have to be a sportsman. You get me? You can play well in badminton. Doesn't mean that you can be the national player. So it's an ability. You can play well. You can play badminton well. But doesn't mean that you have to be badminton player. That one is much more on your choice already. Where it's the talent comes in. Where you need to train, you need to get the right person to train you, you need to get the right channel to expose you to the competition, to the match.
Of course, I have to include the the choice of that person, whether he wants to become.
And then I would say the three things is much more seeing it in. You were saying is the
the success recipe of life.
No. It's just now you were saying is by
to obtain the ultimate
by the
epiphany realization.
It's because what he said was please correct me if I'm wrong. So what I perceive from him is that he measure by the gifted
growth
level. Like gift is pure, and then ability is you are not gifted but you can acquire it, and then talent is like you know what you're good at and then you use it. But then for me, I see three things as different kind of phase of life, where gift is the young, and then middle, and then last.
I see.
Gift is something you get when you're a child.
Like
saying.
And then when you were born until up to like maybe 5 to 10, there's a science behind.
This reminds me. Do you know Tuato?
Okay.
So to explain,
it's a tradition.
It's a tradition that in Chinese, so when a baby is young and I think up before 12 months, they have like different objects displayed in front of them. So for example, you have a pencil, you have
orange maybe,
orange,
and then
a piano, or like different instruments. So each object is supposed to represent a future possible career that the baby is gonna take up, or sort of the gift that the baby is gonna have. Yeah, I can't remember what I get. Maybe I get a drumstick. I love to eat it.
And then you got free drumsticks. That's the talent.
It's so funny when you say drumstick. I'm thinking of like
not the drumstick, but like chicken drumstick.
Drum space stick.
Yeah, I guess that's interesting. I mean, you guys have brought up like two kind of flavors to the equation, right? Because for me, it was, as I was reflecting, it's kind of a straightforward equation where I'm thinking is just, I guess the difficulty of entry to these things. Like ability, you can learn, it's fine. Talent takes a bit more time. Gift, if you want to learn it, it's gonna be hard work, right? Unless, or the opposite, it just comes naturally. But then you guys are adding in the factor of like luck and circumstance. That's what Joyee mentioned. This idea that it's kind of defined by what life gives you and the cards that you're dealt. And then Gary's bringing in this factor of your childhood and how you're growing up, right? Yeah, I think like just the idea of a gift that you develop as a child is super interesting. I mean, none of us here are psychologists or psychiatrists, so we can't mention much. But if you do like, you know, the idea of therapy is always looking back at your childhood and how you were brought up, because the impact that you have as a child is so like long lasting, and it's so crazy actually.
It is.
There must be a certain period of time, I don't remember, but I read it somewhere. It says that from the baby was born until the age of 12 maybe, it would define indefinitely for the whole life. There's a science behind it. Of course, I'm not psychology, but there is a science behind saying that, you know, that I think maybe up until 18, that's why up until 18 only you can drink. Really? Don't laugh. Because 18 years old is where they define as the brain is mature enough and conscious enough to make a choice.
Yeah, I don't really.
Well, of course, some maybe 15 years old, they already know that they want freaking drink, they will drink it.
This reminds me of an episode from, is it The Good Doctor? On Netflix? Yeah, where there's an autistic doctor as a main character. So there's an episode whereby there's this, I think it's a teenager boy.
Yeah.
He wanted to convert to a female, but then he is age 15.
Okay.
And then he was on the operation table, begging, crying to his parents, saying that I wanted to, you know, convert to a girl, transition to a girl. Sorry, my choice of word. Transition to a girl before I reach my, you know, puberty. So he doesn't want to add an as well. He doesn't want like all the male feature lah. But then his parents agreed to it, but his grandma was quite against it lah. So saying that he's not old enough to make these choices, and then so the episode really interesting. It left the audience thinking that what would be the right choice to do. You know? Do you think he's mature enough to make choice? But I agree with the fact that at an early stage, almost our perception of everything is kind of like established since at the age, especially towards like how we perceive love, relationship, friendship, our worldview, and how do we kind of like interact with people.
Yeah, but I also think, like, don't you feel that there are periods of, you know how they say like every 7 years all the cells in your body have gone and replaced by others, right? Something like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
So you're
a cell regeneration.
Yeah, so you're a completely new person in terms of like physical matter. Every 7 years, you're like, you don't have any of the cell that you had when you were a kid, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I think that like the same thing can be said about like mental and your kind of mental attitude and your personality, almost to an extent, because don't you go through periods of unlearning and relearning something? Like you realize that, oh, okay, like this doesn't work. I mean, especially after, I think it happens especially after you leave home and you leave your parents and you leave your family. Like you suddenly have the space and the ability to question things and you know, put it back into perspective. Does this work for me or not? If it doesn't work, what else can I do? That kind of thing.
But despite the 7 years of changes, right, I still feel like parts of us were always rooted back to where our identity comes from. Like maybe not 50%, 20%, 10%. That it's still like there. Like that's your roots that kind of anchor you down wherever you go. Don't you think? Otherwise, won't you get lost? Like because your core is kind of like floated every time. I know it's not sort of like something that you can lose and then gain. It's more like it's keep on evolving. I understand that. Yeah.
Well, I do agree. There are certain cores that can't really change because you know, like one day Joyee is Joyee lah. Joyee won't.
It's a clown lah. Right. That's
the intellectual lah. But I believe it can be like one. I mean, okay, I can only say you act in the different situation. You can be an intellectual definitely in different situation, but it's just not the previous episode. Maybe.
It's okay. I let it be. It's already published already.
but I just thought that there are certain core, like for example, like joyful or optimistic or very MBTI kind of thing. like you are extrovert then, but
Are we talking about my gift right now?
it's kind of gift, right? Like personality is a soft gift, not the hard gift.
Is personality a gift, talent, or ability?
I think it's a gift.
It's a gift, right?
It can be a talent, like it can be a talent if you work at it. So for example, like if an introvert wants to be more outgoing in that sense, you know, you can develop that, you can practice it. It can become a talent. If you practice hard enough, it can be a gift. But probably
that question is more relevant to you, isn't it? Because like you are an introvert, but right now you're working in a sort of like PR company.
Yes.
Do you find it very hard to work into an extroverted person?
It takes me a while. I think, like, you know what was interesting? The first kind of week or 2 weeks, there was one really senior member of staff, and he's a director level, and he just mentioned that just because you're an introvert, he wasn't talking to me directly, but he was kind of talking to all the new people who joined. It's like, if you're an introvert, extrovert, it doesn't matter. There's a place for everyone in this industry, but you kind of just have to find your place in it, and you can always, you know, put on an act almost. You can always find this alter ego to step in at the right times, and that's your ability actually. I think that's the ability to step in at those times, because I think, again, I just think that the more you practice your ability, the easier it become, then it'll be a talent, that kind of thing. Like it kind of goes through those stages of maturity, is what I think. I do think it's quite hard for me, but again, like it's not, right now it's definitely in the ability stage of trying to develop the ability. But yeah, why?
Oh, no.
You seem like you have a question.
No, yeah, I do have a question, because I feel like it's so interesting, that the topic that we're talking today, because it has different answer depending on like which scenario that you put in. So for example, you have managed to become a very extroverted version of you at work. I wouldn't say Haziq is a talented person. I would say you are a gifted person. I would say that you are someone who has the ability to do that.
The ability.
Yeah, but if you were to change this scenario to someone, let's say an Olympian, a sportsman, and then he do well, he got a gold medal, you wouldn't say that he is someone who has the ability to ski. You would say he is talented instead of gifted, because gifted is not just doesn't justify the hard work that he put in. You would say he's talented.
Unless he was like 12 years old and then he's gifted, right?
See, it's because of the age, right? Like,
It's the
5 years old already can shoot better than Ronaldo. Wow, it's gifted.
I'm not comfortable yet by putting the age factor into it.
Okay.
Because if you were to say it like that, then how about someone who's at the age of 80 years old, who never played violin before, and then when he picks up violin at the age of 79, and he suddenly becomes someone who's playing at a national theatre.
Yeah, then he's completely gifted.
Then, but it's limited not by the age factor.
It's the time that you put into it. It's
But
not your age as a
79
person. It's not the age of you as a person. It's the age of your kind of how much hours you put into that practice.
It's a time factor then.
Yes,
Okay.
time. I think.
So time kind of affect all these three outcomes.
Yeah, time and ease. Like, how difficult is it?
Okay, that's interesting. Yes.
I think that makes sense.
But
Sorry, I just want to like make a disclaimer. Like, when I think about these things, right, it's not kind of like set in stone. And I think this kind of practice of categorizing things is useful sometimes, but you need to be able to like step back from it. If it doesn't work, it's okay. You know, you can mix and match a little bit.
Yeah.
you use it for how it serves you. And the way I use it is just to reflect. Oh, okay, like that's, you know, these are the things that I need to work harder on. These are the things that I'm like gifted on, so I should also kind of put that forward, right? Like, so that's the interesting thing. Like, if I ask you guys what are your gifts, what would you say?
You go first?
I can't. My face, I guess. I can't think of any right now.
Your face is
Let's take
Can
an
I say
example.
there is an ability?
Can I say my smile is my gift? Because I literally...
You can say whatever you want, Joy.
Okay.
So let's say...
I need to self-disclaimer like what you did just now.
No, it's alright.
Like, you feel like he's attacking anyone.
So let's take the example that you think your smile is your gift, right? So if you go in that mindset, then you want to be able to be in a position where you can use that smile because it comes easily to you, right? So how do you make sure that you can use that? That's the way I use this kind of way of thinking, right? And then what's your ability?
Make up better.
You use my gift as ability.
No. This is a separate thing already.
Oh.
Your gift is a smile. So when
Yeah.
you think about like day to day, you just want to make sure that you smile all the time.
I don't consciously make that choice, but I literally just smile. I remember, because this reminds me of like when I was 12 years old, which is standard 6 in primary school. My teacher, oh my god, I love that teacher. She once told me that, she once told the whole class actually, for some reason, that she said that Joey's always smile, like as in like naturally, without effort, and then like in any scenario. I was like, oh, then I smile again. I said, here, and then she said, here we go, she smiled again. So I guess that is my small gift.
Yeah.
The life
But
gave me.
I guess what I'm saying is like if you're conscious that that's your gift, there are certain areas that you can use it, and you know that it works. That kind of, I'm not in a cynical way of like using people, but it helps people, right? It helps put people at ease and all this kind of stuff. So just remember to smile is what I'm saying. And then if you reflect back on your ability, it's a different. What I'm saying is you use this kind of categorization to reflect on your life and how you live it. Does that make sense?
But I would actually see it this way. So smiling is the topic. It's a topic A, for example.
Okay.
And then ability A is called A1, talent is A2, gift is A3. So now you get A3, which is a good biological feature.
Gary is very visceral. He's trying to.
No. That's how I think. That's how I think. So smiling is category A, and then you have A1, A2, A3.
Okay.
Right? So
What is A1, A2, A3?
A1 is ability, A2 is talent, A3 is gift.
Okay.
Okay. Oh.
So
let's go with this. Okay. And
Okay.
then,
I think this way, okay? You can put it
Well,
in
I
different
can.
way.
So I can categorize one thing into 3 parts.
So
okay?
one smiling this thing is not ability, but it's a topic. So branching down to 3 things. So A3, which is the gift,
okay.
you got the biological feature, which is a good smile, the right proportion of your smile, the lips is just
Thanks,
right.
Mom.
Okay. And then.
So this is a gift because not everyone born with this very, right size
Okay,
of lips.
next, move on. The more I talk about it, I really paiseh. I'm getting more and more paiseh. Can we move on? Next,
Okay, yeah.
Next.
So you have a talent and ability.
Okay, no! I regret
Okay.
bringing this up.
No. You think of it in a very useful way.
That talent, how do I make use of? How do
How do you use the right? How do you know how to use the right lipstick? It's very important,
I don't know where we're going.
I don't know where you're going, man. I only know that I use my smile to get you guys free fried chicken wings. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then with a
That's a gift.
but with the right lipstick, the right choice of color, where you have the sense to pick the right color.
Oh, that's the ability.
That's ability. You can go with the black color lips and then versus the red color. The result might be different. I mean, sure, the smile is still good, but then the result is different.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
okay.
by putting the right color of red,
That's
my ability.
That's-
Then I'll become talented. A very talented smiler.
yeah.
Here you go, guys.
so-
There's a secret recipe to everything in your life.
Well, that's where I would challenge the statement of saying when every time the motivational speaker will say seize the opportunity, right? But then I would say seize the gift that you're given and you know that it's good. Don't fucking laugh.
No, I agree. I agree with this.
You get what I mean?
Seize
Yeah,
the, like seize the gift. I agree.
yeah, I agree. I
Your
laugh
your
because I
metaphor
agree.
is your metaphor is like very hard to.
It's very
to expand.
high level.
Okay,
Yeah.
lah. You think of diagram, lah. Okay.
How about you? What do you think is your gift, Gary?
A moment of silence. I think my gift is is it supposed to be like hard skill? It doesn't matter, right?
No.
Soft
It doesn't matter.
Anything.
So
Again, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, I
Whatever
think
you
I think I'm a far vision person where I see things in big picture. Well, big picture and far vision are two different things.
Bro, I don't know.
Okay, like
What
in a
are
way,
words at this point? You know?
in a way, I love to. I can think of things very fast and very big, like big plans, fast plan.
Okay, you like it big and fast.
That's what she said.
I don't think she likes it fast. But anyway, so you like it big and fast.
And I can do that easily.
I see.
I can vision in like if you ask me three years later who I want to be. 3 years, what's the plan about this product? I can think about it. Yeah, that's the thing.
So would you see that? You see that as a gift. So and according to your diagrammatic approach just now, so what is your kind of like make it? Like how do you kind of use any ability to make that vision?
So my ability
a more
is
talented person.
to put it into a quite a bad way to say that. My ability is I know how to use people.
I
You
think
get what I
that's
mean?
I think it's a better
Okay, I
way
know
of
who
using-
to collaborate with. I
How
know
to work with people.
how.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why I say it's a bad. That's why I
You
say it's a
see
bad way.
people's strengths.
Yes,
Yeah,
I can see like okay, this guy can do something, and we
Yeah.
can collaborate. Not I use him, but or her. but
Gary
I,
use people, Be careful.
well.
I
If
think-
you wanted
I
to put it in a very very honest way, I actually
No.
do.
I think it's more like
People will think of it.
you're saying that you have the ability to kind of see what are strengths and weaknesses
Yeah.
in each individual.
Yeah.
And then you know how to maximize their potential in a given
everyone's
scenario
is a win-win thing.
by putting together a group
Yes,
of good
yes.
people.
Yes, and I believe that.
I guess an ability you can develop is how to say things nicely.
Well, that's why I say it in the very, very transparent and honest way. If you wanted to put it in the darker way, yes, I know how to use people. That's why I can
I
always say
don't-
darker
I-
way. You know, it's
I don't think it has to be dark.
well. I mean, for of course, for other people might think that hey, I'm being used, but in a longer term,
If it's a win-win situation like you mentioned earlier, then it's not a dark.
exactly because there are people also using me, ma. You get what I mean?
Yeah, but yeah.
But of course, I say it, that's why I'm bad boy lah. I'm bad guy. But anyway, so
No. Just, sometimes words do matter.
it does. But yeah, I think that's the thing that I wish to do. And then I think recently, because I had a meeting with my employer, which is the director, he gave me two choices. One is, do you want to be a part 3 architect, or do you want to develop forward to business management or business manager?
What is your answer? Or you still
I choose
thinking
the
about
second one.
Mm.
Well, see, it was a hard choice because given the fact that the first choice, it was like a 7 years, 8 years you almost invested in.
Yeah.
And then where I'm working now is, in the end, is still an architecture firm.
Yes.
Architecture students work in an architecture firm seems to be very natural thing. It seems to be the most conventional way. You can, of course, it's very flexible that you will ended up in developer firm or PR company. Sure, you can work on it, but it's not something that you tend to think of when you wanted to be the someone that after you graduated from something that you used to so familiar with. Sorry,
Got a bit lost in your sentence.
in a simple way, you study architecture because you thought you wanted to be an architect.
I think
Because you don't be like, oh, I want to be an engineer, then I go to architecture school.
I don't think that's the case for everyone. Maybe it's the case for you, but sometimes people study things because they want to learn about the thing and not about the career. Like I didn't study architecture
Sure.
because I want to be an architect. I mean, Sem 1, I already knew that I don't want to be an architect.
But you still
But
continue
I
studying.
continue because I enjoyed learning what I was learning.
Mm.
And for me, like, life isn't about career, life is just about learning, right? Like, we're only
Sure.
here for a limited amount of time. I just want to know as much as I can.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah, and that's what I say. So it's like,
and then the trajectory that you follow today doesn't mean it will be the same path that you follow tomorrow.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's always changed.
Yeah, that's why I say the first choice is it was hard for me to not to pick that, like to
To
be
do
an
a part
architect
3.
because
Okay.
I already invested so many and people around me, they when I ask, oh, are you the first question usually, right? I feel so strange when I go out for the dinner and then they say, are you planning to take a part 3? I'm like, is this what the main topic are we going to talk about? Like, are you whether do we take part 3 or not? Does it really matter? It does matter for them because they will tend to think that, oh, you done part 1, part 2, next is part 3. It's so natural for them. But for me, that's why I was like so hard to pick that off because it's something that like sounds like I'm wrong if I don't pick that. But in fact, the reason why I chose the option 2, which is towards the business management side, because I was so keen about it, and that's the thing where I wish to bridge where what I learned technically is the ability where I study like 7 or 8 years, and then the gift is the business side, the the far vision side, and then how to bring them together. So I would say that's where it's tough, where you try to against something that you do, but yet to match back your passion, match back your gift, match back your interest. Yeah. What about you?
What do you mean?
What do you think your gift is?
I think my gift is, and I hope like people agree, is I think my gift is being a good listener and kind of being in tune with people's emotions and thoughts, and the ability to like understand in between the lines of what people are trying to say, even if they're not able to say it.
Yeah.
And then I think I want to develop a talent where I can then help them say what they're trying to say. So I think a lot of people, so I guess it's communication. Is my gift, and hopefully talent and ability. And, and I guess that's why like it was interesting, can just kind of reflecting on it, and this new job that I'm on. And I think, even within architecture, that's the way I saw it. It's how do you communicate? How's your drawings? How are your drawings saying what it needs to say? Your presentation, are you taking a person through that story? Even in this podcast, like, because I think there's a certain way to guide people through an idea. And yeah, does that make sense?
Well, yeah, totally. I mean, from what I just said, and then you sort of bring it in on the right track. but then, right? I mean, a bit leeway, a bit different topic, but because you have the ability and also the interest and also the gift or talent to know what's the world language, like what's the right way to say, what's the proper way to say things, which I don't, because I don't care about that. I just want to be honest and say, fuck this shit. If I say I want to use people, then I would say. But then you know how to bring back people to say, oh, in fact, Gary is not meant like this. He just wanted to say.
Yeah.
So it's not packaging, It's more of like how to attune with the world language, like.
Yeah, and I think just like what I said, sometimes words don't matter, but sometimes they do. And I think
they do.
This for me, like, I am. How do I say this? I don't want to big up myself too much, but I think I know when it matters and when it doesn't. And I think sometimes that frustrates people, because they come to me and they're like, I thought you said words matter, then why are you being so mean right now? But like, when I'm being mean, I'm joking, it doesn't matter. But there's this idea that I don't make it known to the people around me. Sometimes that's like a mistake, and that's not
sure.
That's something to be mindful of. But so what I mean, for example, just to bring it back, right? Like this idea of the ability, gift, whatever, in that sense, the words don't matter. You can make it however it works for you. That's what matters. You don't, if the mold is there, but whatever your ideas and the way you're trying to work and you're trying to strategize and reflect, it doesn't fit the mold, change the mold. It doesn't matter, right? But if you're talking to someone and you're trying to develop a relationship, it matters, because that will affect them. The words you say to someone will affect them for their day, their week, their month, their year, even if you think it doesn't, right? It will leave a taste in their mouth and in how they think of you. And also there's a lot of misunderstanding, and I think like in the world today, there's just so much noise that for me, I would rather take the time to slow down and reduce the amount of misunderstanding later on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I do have another question where we can talk about next time, is that, we tend to have a standardized language, like the world language that I'm trying to say, is why there are certain words that mean something it's sensitive, or it might be negative, it carries a certain negative meaning, and it becomes a point where we no longer, what's the benchmark of honesty and what's the benchmark of good or bad. So when you say a certain things and then you tend to say, oh, you should say it this way, because like you said, it's a communication thing, and it's like,
it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it.
That's also part of it. It's like, for example, I can say you are beautiful. I can only say you are not ugly. Two are almost the same thing. You get what I mean?
Okay, but there's
Not ugly also means that beautiful, but I'm not saying you are beautiful.
So you're saying that there's a subtle difference between these two sentences?
Definitely different. I'm saying you are not ugly, but I didn't say you are pretty also, you know. But when I say you are pretty, then you are pretty.
I just feel like I'm constant under attack in this conversation.
You are pretty lah, that's it lah. Just take that.
I guess what you're trying to reference also is the... So for example, when Joyee mentioned this person who wants to transition to another gender, right? The word transition rather than convert. There is a meaning there, and the ability to use the right word somehow matters, because those are sensitive things to that group, that community, right? And the thing I think that people misunderstand sometimes is that language is not static. Language is always evolving, right? It's the same if you think about not just like verbal language, but visual language. The colors that you use, the logos that you use. You're not going to use a swastika now, you know, the Nazi symbol. But why? Because it has that meaning now. And so we have to move on. And a new language will develop. And language is always developing. It's always in flux. It's always moving.
I guess what Gary was trying to say, that it'd be interesting to explore the fine line. So I understand while language is evolving at the background, so therefore the fine line is also keep adjusting itself. So what is the right word to say and what is not the right word to say? The same word might means good in some circumstances and bad on the other side. So I guess
you know who plays with fine lines very well? Comedians. That's what they do. That's why comedy is comedy, because they're always challenging that line. They bring you one step forward, one step back, and then you're like, should I laugh? Should I not? Oh my god! And then
jokes.
Yeah, and then that makes you laugh. Like that's it, because what they do is they develop a tension. And comedians, to be really good comedians, they need to know what's happening in the world and what are people's feelings about it. And then they bring you there, make you really uncomfortable, and then break it.
So that's a gift?
Yeah, I mean,
it's a talent.
It's everything. Like how good a comedian is,
a talent.
It's just how good a comedian is, right? If they can develop that ability, but some people have a gift.
Interesting, eh? So if I throw a question like, what would you like to try, like, you know, like a course or workshop, would you like to try to sign up for a comedian class?
I don't think I have. I don't think I can. I love like listening to comedians. And like not only comedians doing their show, but comedians talking about comedy. It's really interesting because there's so much that they put into their craft, like how they structure the joke. It's super interesting.
And
it's actually an underlying socio-political chord, or as in that they're trying to make their response to it, but in such a under heavy comical makeup. You can't.
How about you? If there is a course or workshop or classes where you can explore a new ability, what would it be? Pottery class.
Me?
Yeah. I do really quite interested to sign you up for a comedian class then.
I think rather than comedy, I would want to do like improvisation.
Improvisation?
Yeah, improv. Meaning like, it's almost like acting but on the spot. So you don't get a script or anything, right?
Then you should go to theatre.
But it's not as official as it sounds.
Yeah, so it's just improv. In a way, this is improv, right? We're just riffing off each other. And I just love it so much. Because you're I guess what you're trying to do, it's the... I don't know if I want to get too deep into this.
Go on.
Do you know the finite and infinite game?
Finite.
So there's this book that was written by a religious person, but he thinks about living life. You can live it in a finite or infinite way. A finite game meaning that
you play to win.
You
and
play
then
to win.
The other one is you play to continue to play.
Yes. Exactly. So improv is you're playing to continue to play, but you're always like trying to throw the person off, right? Like because in a way it wants to be comedy. It wants to be funny. So I'm trying to throw you off and see how you react to it. But I don't want to push you out of the game. That's not the aim of the game. The aim of the game is to challenge you enough to make you like a bit unexpected, but then you come back and then it keeps going. Like it just, oh my god.
But speaking of game, right? I heard that Lana has a new issue called Play.
Not subtle at all.
Sorry.
Albert trying to slide in.
This episode was brought to you by
Lanai.
But anyway, we do have an open call, so if you're interested, feel free to submit. But okay, go. So improv. Interesting. So I was actually thinking to sign up for an acting class though.
Really? What makes you?
Another gift is that I'm very, maybe it's not gift, but I don't know, ability or definitely not talent. I can be so emotional.
Right.
Okay.
Is it so? Therefore, when let's say if you put in me, let's say like you say the improv, if you throw me into a scene, then I can react very contextual. When you put me into a stage, I can be contextual. I mean, of course, emotional is the second layer of it. How to enrich the acting, you know?
Yeah.
Like when I'm drowning, how do I drown better? Of course, you don't want to throw someone very no emotion, like, you know.
That is actually true though. I mean, apart from speech improv, the other thing that actors have to really learn or train is actually their facial expression, which is really, really hard to really convey an emotion without words.
Yeah.
That is actually harder than speech
Who
improv.
are Charlie Chaplin?
Yeah. But like if you were to watch, anyone who has watched like I, Tonya, that movie where Margot Robbie cried in the bathroom, but she cried before she went onto the skating ring, and then I feel like, have you guys seen that scene before?
No.
It's really nice. Like
Sorry, but okay.
yeah, she's trying to, so she's a historical skater in that movie, and then basically she has this very sad background. So there's this scene in the movie whereby she's really sad at the brink of breaking down, but then she was putting makeup at the same time, trying to force herself into a smile before going to the skating ring.
Sounds like
It's
Joker.
so real. It's so real. I got goosebumps from that. Yeah.
You experience that every day?
Yeah, maybe.
In the mornings?
Every day in the morning before I go to school. God damn it.
Then it's like, what? Put a smile on your face. But speaking of comedian, there is one. I think his name is Bob Burnham.
Yeah, Bo Burnham.
Bob Burnham.
Bo Burnham.
Bob
What
Burnham.
about him?
Oh, he did
On
this.
Netflix.
Yes, freaking good.
Yeah, it's really
What?
So he did the whole film during lockdown,
Yeah.
and then he was like reacting to different kind of scenario. For example, social media, depression, things like this, and then he make it into music. You can actually listen it on Spotify.
So it's a musical movie?
He uses music in his stand-up and in his comedy.
Yeah.
It's really hard to explain, but basically he just filmed himself as a Netflix special for like an hour and a half or something.
Yeah.
But he uses music as a way to deliver his comedy.
Yeah, and I think when I say I'm emotional, I can get that very easily because I can like synchronize or sympathize with that scenario very well. When I'm in that situation, I can imagine. And then I think my imagination is quite good, but good to a point where it becomes bad, overthinking. That's also, is that I'm not sure if it's a gift or over gift. Over gifted. I can think something very fast. I can think something a lot.
Overthinking isn't it anxiety, my friend?
It is.
But that's an interesting point, right? Like if you have a gift, how do you use it well so that you're not using it like
And
You're not using it to become an imaginary friend.
like for example, if Joyee's gift is smiling, you know, how do you not just
Over smile.
or just smile? Because there is a problem, right? So like when you first came
Yeah.
and you were just being friendly, and then
Yeah.
people can scam you on the street.
Yes.
That's a problem of your gift. You know what I mean? Because you're just too friendly.
Yeah, he was shocked that how come
This guy's so nice.
this girl was offering me her wallet.
Yeah. True story.
True story. So when I first arrived in the UK, I went to Regent Street to pick up some stuff, and obviously there's a lot of scammer on the street. So there's this lady with her rose, and she was walking around. She was walking around giving out rose to people, and I was like, no, people actually want to get a rose from her. So I didn't consciously walk up to get the rose from her, but she just approached me, forcefully put the rose into my bag. And I was like, oh, thank you, how nice. And then the next thing she said, can I have £1 please? I was like, oh, okay. And then I literally opened my wallet, and obviously I don't have enough cash. And then I opened my wallet and said, oh no, I don't have enough wallet. So I actually show her the wallet that I don't have enough cash. I can see a slight, like her expression was a bit shocked, like, oh my god, this girl is stupid enough to show me her wallet. Let alone the fact that I might actually grab the wallet and run away. But yeah, but
I laugh so hard, sorry.
yeah, but I don't mind though. I mean, if that
Yeah,
smile,
but it can get you
into
in
danger.
dangerous situations.
Yeah,
It is.
sometimes it is. But I guess another thing that I'm actually quite happy with my personality is that I'm actually curious enough. Like, I feel like this is part of my personality traits, gift if you like it. Like curious so that I'm open-minded to kinda like I wish to learn more stuff. Therefore I'm always like smiling towards like everyone just to know about what is this person doing, what is the background, what is the story behind.
Yeah.
So I guess the curiosity kind of prompt me to, you know, be more friendly with people. Therefore I smile unconsciously. Yeah.
So I suddenly thought of something like, you know, personality and gift. Now we are more like, you know,
It's almost, I feel like gift is something more personality related.
Yeah.
But also because of your personality, then the ability will match you up. Like for example, there is a certain genetic code in your DNA somehow matches with, you know, some people really just, you know, you train the person for ages also cannot play badminton. That is a fact. Just some. Do you believe that? Do you believe that someone really cannot be taught?
No.
Can be, right? But it just takes some time. Take longer time. Maybe like 20 years, just know how to hold a racket properly. Well, properly can be defined in a different way also lah.
Yeah. I think it also just comes down to whether they want it or not.
Yeah. So that's...
Why do you ask this question?
Well, because it's, for example, when we talk about world language, like I just simply cannot pick that up. I cannot, I don't know.
Think you cannot, you just don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. And also...
So the moment you care, you will pick it up.
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
When I write email, I will damn be
If
careful.
let's say you tell that person, if you don't play badminton, your family will die. Something like that.
No. It's more like the... No. It's more of the language.
So sorry for that.
It's more of the language because...
My ability to use words is not there yet. I try
You
my
just
best.
don't care.
I'm not talented enough.
Well, you're right because it's not like I don't care. It's just that I don't care in this occasion.
Yeah.
But when I'm writing emails, when I talk to the client, of course I'll be very careful. When you say column, when you say pillar, I tend to say column because pillar might sound foreign for them. For example, you know, for example,
Never heard the word pillar.
yeah.
I mean, not never. I mean.
And then you don't say the you know
context.
you don't tell the engineer say, hey, the vertical thing can you put on the grid A, you know, you say column. So there is a standardized vocabulary.
Speaking of this, it reminds me of I'm sure you guys heard of it. Like when you're speaking to different people, you use different vocabs and also different set of language.
Of course.
Although it's the same language, but just different kind of vocabs, so that you can relate to each other better.
Yes.
I feel like that is a really good ability to have.
No, it's ability.
Yeah, it is. But I think it's a gift to notice that you need to have that.
And then you are talented enough to use it.
I know, we keep on like trying so hard to relate to this, but it shouldn't be.
That's quite true. So coming back to this world language, I metaphor it into skill. Okay, skill is another thing. Skill is ability, right? Skill is ability. Okay. So in architecture, we tend to think that your ability must be, you know how to use a certain software. But what if I can be a good architect, but I just don't want to use AutoCAD. I don't want to use SketchUp. So
then he's an asshole boss.
well, it's no, it's the whole education as well. It's the whole part of learning, saying that, you know, like you must use AutoCAD or else you can't
it's
go.
like people who use PowerPoint to do presentations rather than InDesign.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then it tend to, you know, there is a standardized ability. And then the ability will sort of constrain you in a bad way or implement or complement you to another step.
It's the same thing when you have exam in school.
Yes.
When your grades define you,
And
even you don't like mathematics, but you force yourself.
Yeah,
to
so
learn it.
like for me, my recent encounter is Revit. I don't like Revit, and I know that because, like I said, I always wanted to do the business. I'm not a fucking Revit. I don't care about the family. I don't have family. So learning Revit is ability.
Yeah.
it's not my talent, and I hate it.
But yeah, I guess the overarching theme is what do you care about, right?
Yeah, and
So for example, with that example, I don't necessarily care about Revit, but I care about learning new skills. I care about being up to date.
Yeah.
I'm curious, and I like software. So for me, learning Revit was very easy, and I enjoyed the process, you know.
And it's not about architecture element,
it's
not about insulation, how thick.
Yeah, it's not. It's like learning how to use it, seeing how how it's used as a collaboration tool between the different consultants, getting the Revit file from the mechanical engineer and seeing how they use it. You know, for me, I guess in a way, I sometimes approach life from a very like journalistic point of view. Like I just wanna understand what are people doing and why are they doing it like this? Can it be better? That kind of thing.
Well, that's a very, I mean,
perception change.
But
it makes your learning journey better.
Yeah,
it's more fun. Yeah,
and I do think that this is a very flexible gift.
Yeah,
isn't it? I can throw you into theatre, you can learn something because you're always curious about learning.
I just need to find what is it that interests me. Like if it's too boring or I'm not interested to learn, then I probably won't learn it.
But you will learn it.
I need to find the reason why it interests me. Yeah, but usually I can find a reason why it interests me.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. That's the thing with architecture. Like I didn't want to be an architect, but I found so many reasons why I was interested in it. Because I'm interested in color. I'm interested in how people look at things. I'm interested in how things are put together, stuff like this. But I'm not interested to be an architect.
I feel like being an architect is apart from have to have the knowledge of everything, but also not just it takes a lot of persistence, I think, to like keep on practicing. It's almost like an athlete training for countless.
Only an architect would say that.
Really? Like
what?
Like, you just have to.
Only an architect would say they're the same as an Olympian.
Is it not?
Are you serious right now?
You just keep on practicing every day, you know? Like you keep on doing the same thing every day until the age of 80. So instead of like diversing, like have to try different things, eventually you will have to come back to like your own one career and keep on doing that and keep on doing that.
Interesting.
There's a different way of living, especially as a generalist.
Well, yeah.
You really interesting. I don't know.
Right?
Maybe we can talk about that in another conversation. But you really think like that's how a good architect is made? By just doing the one thing?
A good architect, it's a very broad topic. I don't think we can cover
We'll talk
it.
about that another time. But that's, interesting. So I guess we should wrap this episode up.
Yeah.
I guess just to throw one question, it's like, where do you think you are in terms of like career-wise, of how aligned these things are?
Maybe not, again, in your case, not career lah, but education.
I mean, education is still part of career, so...
Sorry, your question come again?
I get...
Sorry, I'm just repeating for the audience.
Your face reminds me when Joyee was like so annoyed when for the first time we asked her to move things here and then she was
Hey, Sunday morning, way.
Chill.
What time right now?
So I guess it's just like in your kind of where you are in your life right now. How happy are you with the alignment of these three things?
I'm quite happy. Very, very happy with how I align my. Well, I wasn't conscious about gift, talent, and ability until we talk about it today. But I definitely will think more about it in the future. But right now, I can tell that I'm quite happy. There isn't any misalignments of my inner intention and with my action. I feel like what my actions having right now, it's kind of aligned with what I want, at least in tomorrow, or at least in the next 1 year, or in the next 5 years.
I guess like the kind of, if we package it all, right, this is the driving mechanism to achieve your purpose in life, right? So yeah. So So you feel like it's aligned enough for you to reach your purpose, right? It's like a well-oiled machine to drive you there.
Or at least it is still assembling in the correct way.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Do you mind
Instead of functioning as a faulty machine.
Yeah. Things are not falling apart.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not. They're not complete. The machine is not complete, but at least they are in the right place.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask in more detailed way, like how does it align? Like for example, now you're exploring materials. Is that so that's the interest that you always wanted to do, and the school allows you to do that?
Yes.
And the school encourage you to do that?
Yeah, in a way.
Okay.
So I mean, being here, having my part 2 postgraduate study is already in line with my architectural career that I wanted to become a registered architect, and able to explore with material.
Yeah.
It's always something that I wanted to do, and then the school allows a grant for me to do so.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. That's fine. It's lucky. Thanks to the support.
Thanks to the gift.
Wow, need to give a speech.
I'll take my mom.
Thank my mom, thank Haziq, thank Gary. Without them, I don't have any friends in London. I only have some GC women in Regent Street give me flower. Yeah. How about you?
Gary.
Gary first.
I suddenly. What? Sorry, before I
snap a lot.
So before I come back to your question, recently I came across. So my friend told me that you really can talk to anyone. So I'm not sure how true is that, but then of course in the business term, I really can talk to anyone. Whether you like it or not, I don't care. I just want to do a freaking business with you. Anyway, so he was telling me how bad he had the experience working with his previous boss in Malaysia. And then I told him also at the same time, I don't have much experience with that. I work with someone that I work with ZLG. I enjoy the whole process. Where I'm working now, I enjoy very much. And like you said, whether it did align with my interest or intention or purpose, it is aligned very much. And I think even though it's not aligned, I will find a way to make it align. So it's interesting because when he gave me the choice, then I will pick the things that I really enjoy rather than, well, I can be, I can choose for the part 3 process, but then I will not find that would be sustainable with, what I think in the 5 to 10 years. I can get an architect now, but then it's not as meaningful or purposeful as what I thought. And then he told me about his experience working with bad boss, and then he say, and then I told him back, say, I'm just lucky that I came across with lucky, like Chinese they say 贵人. It's like someone who help you in your life. But and then he told me that no, it's not. You're just simply able to make people happy. You make people very enjoyable to work with. So it doesn't really matter. So that's kind of like a gift where I wish to embrace it, not use it, embrace it in a better way. That how can I help people to achieve their goal, and then I can achieve my goal as well. And my goal is to help you to achieve the goal. That's it. And I'm happy to be the assistant. And in the end, I think, answering back to your question, I think I really enjoy what I'm doing now, and I couldn't ask for it. I couldn't ask more for it. It's like so happy. It's like I do have a purpose where haven't come to the point. Like I will tell you guys when it's Monday, I need to work. But for now, I really looking forward to every day I work. And I think also I put in the mini purpose after work. For example, tomorrow, then maybe after work I might go to the AA show to visit a friend, and then Tuesday I may meet Rachel for dinner, and then Wednesday I got something else.
Busy man.
No, it's not. It's like something you look forward.
It's fulfilling.
It's very fulfilling. It's very productive. But of course, there might be some underlying things like wanted to get distracted or things like.
I just want to add on to that, sorry, before we go to Haziq. It's just that I'm also thinking to develop the ability to
multitasking.
empathizing. As in to be more empathy.
Yeah, sorry.
Why are you laughing? Do I not
No.
empathize
I
you
was
enough?
laughing at you. Sorry. I'm laughing because both of you have this habit of completing each other's sentences or completing other people's sentences. And I find it anyway, never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
We are good assistant.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that the ability to able to empathize people will kind of help me to shape where I wanted to be in the future. Suddenly I'm lost of words.
I can't help you now this time.
Sorry.
What are you trying to say about empathy?
I just
Empathy or sympathy?
empathy. It's more like because when I'm here in the UK, and then I just realized that there are just so many different type of people at like they're different backgrounds, and then they have their different limitations, races and ethnicity. And I just thought that to be able to empathize with them will help me to shape a bigger vision, a bigger dream, rather than just by myself. If that makes sense?
Well, we are both persistent. It sounds like it, like helping
Go
people
away.
to
Go away.
GOAL, is it go away? Sorry.
How about you, Haziq?
Yeah, Haziq. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll play devil's advocate. Since both of you said your life is so amazing, I'll say that I think it is a struggle. Like, it's not, you know, even if people say like, yeah, we're happy with our, like, where we are and whatever, but I think just it's important to say that it's not always easy as well, right?
Of
like,
course.
it's a struggle. So don't worry if you're struggling. But I think like the idea is to always check in and reflect and go again, try again. Like, if it doesn't work, try a different way, that kind of thing. Yeah. So I think like I'm constantly shifting it to make sure that it's as optimized as it can be. But it's a long kind of journey.
Yeah.
And figuring out the wrong things, or figuring out whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing. And yeah, I guess that's why also like I've tried so many different things. Yeah.
Just don't get overwhelmed, I guess.
No, I that's the thing. Like, I think I treat it with a lot of sense of curiosity and fun. Like, it's kind of a game.
Nice. So think about your ability, talent, and
Yeah,
gift today.
yeah, that's exactly the point that I wish to ask. Like, because knowing your strength is so important. As in, like, you know what you
as
really
well as
like.
weaknesses.
Yeah, and then now I now want to throw a final question is, how do you know that a certain thing is your strength or ability? For me is when you know you can do things very enjoyable and fast and efficient, and you do it with ease. That's the gift or ability or the talent.
Or
That's
just,
how I define.
Or just simply, you're happy.
Yeah.
When you
Okay.
do it, if you're happy,
Okay.
you feel
Energized. Yeah, if you get
It
energy
feels like the
from
right
it.
thing to do, then it is it, I think.
Yeah, but then
But I think
They-
sometimes you also have to force yourself. Like,
yeah.
And what, exercise?
no, well, yes, but like, for example, even if I enjoy writing, sometimes it's hard, right? And I
Yeah.
just have to force myself to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you come to a point where you force too much and then you don't like writing?
Yeah. And then you kind of just have to reset. That's what I mean. Like, I think, especially with social media nowadays, I don't want this to be like a space where we just say like, oh yeah, everything's amazing, everything's perfect. No,
Sure,
like
sure,
it's,
sure,
it's hard,
sure.
right? It's hard work,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
We will expose our vulnerability if we want to.
Okay.
After offline, we'll be like crying. Life is so tough.
Gary and I have this stick makeup on. We are eye Tonya and at the ending scene with the eye Tonya scene.
I'll find it out.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for listening, and thanks for joining us.
Bye.